Welcome, welcome, beautiful souls, beautiful beings. Welcome back to a crystalline temple. I just wanted to express the challenge of integration. When you've awakened, but the world hasn't. And I'm not trying to sound superior, I'm not trying to sound any of the ways that it might sound, right? I'm just saying that once you have a conscious awakening, a spiritual awakening, or an awareness of consciousness, an expansion of consciousness, you start to perceive the world different, and it's hard to connect with people. There's a part of awakening that people don't talk about enough, and it's not the visions, it's not the downloads, it's not seeing beyond the veil, but what happens afterwards. After you come back into your body, after you return to the world, after you try to talk to people again, this is what I call the challenge of integration. Because once your consciousness shifts, you realize something very, very uncomfortable. It's easier to be alone than it is to be with others who are not awakened. And not because I hate people, not because I think I'm better than anybody, but because my orientation to reality has changed. When you've gone through a spiritual awakening, especially one that cracks you open at the core, you stop relating to the world primarily through your ego alone. We live in a world where the unhealed ego is constantly just playing, manipulating the scenes, creating the illusions. And once you're cracked open, you stop needing constant validation, labels, arguments, identities, or even certainty. And suddenly, I realize a lot of conversations just feel reactive, heavy, circular, loud, meaningless, because now I'm just like, you can act on the reality that you want to see. You can be the change that you want to be. You are the solution. And it's hard to connect with people when you have this mentality, because the majority of people I interact with on a day-to-day basis, especially at school, are very reactive to labels. They're very reactive to the fact that everything's going to shit and the world's falling apart because of this government and there's no hope for the future. And honestly, I just realized that's not where I'm at. And that's where things start getting uncomfortable, because you realize how much you have shifted, and not a lot of people are ready to meet you consciously where you are. You start noticing how much of the world is driven by fear, by offense, and the need to be right. And I'm not arguing with nobody because they feel like they're right, okay? And you're just sitting there like, this is an experience. Why are we fighting each other inside of the experience? And at this stage, knowing thyself becomes more important than getting to know other people. Because once you've met yourself beyond conditioning, beyond identity, beyond titles, you can't unsee it. And, it does get a little lonely out here. I'm not gonna say I haven't experienced loneliness through this awakening, but I am enjoying my solitude now. You can feel alone in a room full of people and still just feel like there's something wrong, like this is not me, this is off. And I don't fit in here. Even if the space feels inclusive, it's not inclusive of my consciousness. And not because I'm disconnected from life, but because I'm connected too deeply to pretend anymore. These titles, these groups, these categories, these labels, they're still the manifestation of separation and disconnection. Because even though you're feeling connected within that group, outside of that group, you don't feel connected to the other people around you, to the other beings around you, to the other species around you. Hear me out, okay? You realize that many people live through an imbalanced ego. Not ego as in bad. We all have an ego. That's how we exist here as a human. But ego that's unexamined, reactive, defensive, and attached to being right, being overly attached to this experience. And how can we not be? This is like all we know until you don't know, right? If we shifted our mindset from like, this is all I have, this is my only experience, to wait, is it really though? Then when you start having these realizations, you start having these memories, you start having these experiences of time, space, past, present, future, past lives. All of these things can be labeled as conspiracy. But the power of the subconscious mind and the subconscious collective is beyond what many people are even ready to know the truth of. And once you've seen beyond that, it's just hard to go back. You don't want to argue about who's right. You don't want to reduce yourself to labels. You don't want to collapse your humanity into categories. You just see beings of life. That's literally how it's been for me. I see that you are breathing, you are bleeding, you are feeling pain, you are trying to survive and make meaning of life. And I realized that most of the world's problems can't be solved with the same limited thinking that created them. They can't be solved by certainty. They can't be solved by believing we already know everything. There is wisdom in admitting we don't know. And there is power in returning to instinct, to intuition, to listening, to the body, to the earth, to ancient intelligence that existed long before us. Integration is learning how to live with the knowing without isolating yourself completely. And that is hard. It's hard, y'all. It's like learning how to walk gently between two worlds and honoring your expand awareness. Like you literally are the bridge. And it's like you just have to exist whether people are ready to cross your bridge or not, while still showing compassion to people who aren't there yet. I always try to give everybody grace, even in the most darkest situations where you feel like there is nothing that justifies this. I still try to give people grace because, as Yeshua said, forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they do. They do not know who they are. They have not awakened to their Christ self. Awakening isn't about leaving humanity behind. It's about learning how to stay human without being consumed by unconsciousness, lower vibrational consciousness, lack of awareness. And sometimes that means solitude. Not avoidant, but discerning. Sometimes it means choosing silence over debate, presence over performance, embodiment over explanation. And sometimes the bridge isn't built through words at all. I'm learning that more and more. It's just my presence. People will come up to me and be like, "You have such great energy. There's just something about you." And then I also have people who are just like, "You're intimidating. You seem stuck up." I'm still being authentically me. It's just these two people's perception of me and the energy that I hold. Maybe one is more in alignment than the other, simply put. But me just existing, my energy shifts the room simply from having knowledge of self and expanded awareness, stepping outside of the unhealed ego, healing myself, prioritizing my self care and my self love so I can see this mirror, this other human, as a person of love, a person that deserves grace. Sometimes the bridge is built through how you live, how you treat people, how you respond instead of react, how you stay rooted when the world feels chaotic. I'm learning to root myself more and more through everything that's going on nowadays. And I'm proud of myself, and I think other people want me to react. I go to school and people are like, "The president, rawr. The celebrity, rawr. I am gay, rawr. I'm straight, rawr. That's racist, rawr." You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm just here existing. If you ask me to choose a side, I'm going to choose my side. I'm going to choose me. You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need to wake anyone up. Your job is to integrate what you've seen into your nervous system, your choices, and your life. I know we want to bring people with us, but we can't always bring everybody with us. In fact, it's probably more rare than anything. And we have to trust that those who are meant to meet you there will meet you there. And those who aren't, that's okay too. Sending you love from a distance. Because awakening isn't the destination, it's the integration. For those who may feel the same way that I do, just know that the most challenging parts of this spiritual journey, this human journey, is integrating our lessons, integrating the wisdom, integrating the expansion, allowing the body to catch up to the mind, and staying rooted in who we are, no matter what. And I know there's a lot of sayings about, like, if you're watching something happening and you're not doing something, you are just as bad as being the enemy, right? But hear me out. It depends on the situation you are in, because it takes a community to change things. And if you're in a community that is not in alignment with what you are doing, or if things are out of your control, out of your hands, if you know there's nothing that you can do to shift this major issue that's happening on another freaking continent, redirect your energy to yourself. There's nothing wrong with focusing on you, because you are all that you have in this experience, literally. Yes, having support is great. Yes, having community is great. But if you can't give that to yourself first, you will always view everything outside of yourself as problematic, as needing of your attention, as needing of your time, as needing of your energy. And some things do need the world's attention, like nature, like more sustainable practices, conservation for our future generations. So if you come to me complaining about Nicki Minaj and whatever Blueface and Christian rock drama, I don't care. I don't care. This is a moment where I call back my energy and I refocus on things that matter to me. And this is where we have to align what matters to us with the community. Just know that integration is the hardest part of the journey. And sometimes the best thing you can do during this time is to enjoy and embody your solitude. So take care. Love you guys.